If you're looking for an authentic chili recipe, this is not it. I'm gonna show you how to make an ultra healthy, weeknight friendly chili that is perfect for meal prep. Stick around, you're not gonna wanna miss this. I'm Christina, and you're here on The Main.
Can I come in your kitchen, baby, and cook all night long with you?
I have some meal prep to do for the week because it's gonna be a busy one and I need something that's gonna be a good go-to. I also have some stuff that needs to get used up in my fridge, and I like to do this healthy chicken chili when there's just kind of odds and ends that really I'm not quite sure what to do with. I'm gonna start by prepping 2 large onions, and I'm gonna chunk them quite large. This chili is a home run every single time. I'm gonna show you some really surefire ways to build flavor so that it doesn't taste kind of muted or watery. I find healthy chilies can do that. You don't get all of the flavor that you would normally get from like a beef chili or something like that. I like to start with a lot of onion because it's a great flavor base. So I'm literally just chunking this up. This is gonna break down because it's gonna cook for a little while. So you don't need to worry about being too precise. Once you get the method down for this chili, you'll be able to mix and match the flavors to suit whatever needs to be used up in your fridge. In the description down below, I'm gonna put everything I'm using today, but please don't feel like you have to be married to that ingredient list. You can use whatever you want. We're gonna continue building our flavor base with some garlic, and I'm gonna use almost the whole bulb. I know it sounds crazy. We need a lot of garlic to deliver big flavor, so do not skimp on the garlic. If you want to get precise about it, I'm using 14 garlic cloves, and don't worry, this garlic is going to mellow right out in your super flavorful chili. I'm going to take some salt. I'm using pink Himalayan, and I'm sprinkling probably about 1/4 teaspoon. Salt is going to allow the juices to be drawn out of the garlic and for a really nice chop. I'm putting this garlic right beside the onion so it can all come to the stove with me. I said this wasn't traditional, right? You'll see what I mean. Carrot. I know a lot of people are gonna find this sacrilegious, but it's nutritious. And this is my real girl, kind of real world chili, where we can't just be eating beef and gravy all the time, as much as that would be nice. This is a carrot that I just had sitting around in the fridge. It was a laggard, and I'm peeling it. I'm gonna chop it up and throw it in. If you have celery, that would work really well too. It's all just gonna end up tasting like this really flavorful base that we're gonna make with all the spices. So honestly, almost anything you have, you can throw it right in here. When you're choosing veggies to add to your chili, keep in mind the amount of time they're gonna take to cook. You wanna add them in that order. So carrots take a long time to cook. They're gonna go in first. Things like bell peppers don't take as much time to cook. I'm gonna add them in last. Another big hearty veg that we are gonna add to this chili is cabbage. I love cabbage. It is so nutritious. It lasts forever in the fridge. It's cheap, cheap, cheap. I want to bring cabbage back. I just think it's great. I happen to have this Napa cabbage, so I am just going to cut this into bite-sized pieces. Cabbage has a lot of water in it, so don't worry about getting them too small. This is going to wilt down completely, and it's just a good way to get more veg into this chili. Like I said, not authentic. If you don't like cabbage, choose something else. Whatever you have in your fridge, it'll work just fine. A chili staple is red peppers. If you have them, fantastic. If you don't, skip them. Just take the core out of your pepper and chop it into chunks. This is a completely optional step. You do not have to do this, but if you happen to be in a city that has a really good Latin market or any Latin market, you can get your hands on some of these dried chilies. They really don't go bad, and if you're gonna be making this on the regular, they amp up the flavor big time. I have a guajillo chili and an ancho chili pepper. So these actually have to be soaked. So I'm just gonna put them in this little dish, and I'm gonna cover them with a little less than a cup of water, and they're gonna plump up. Then I'm gonna take this liquid and blend it in my magic bullet, and the whole thing is gonna get added to the chili. Look at this color. How could you not want this in your chili? If you're not using the dried chilies, this is where you're gonna start building your flavor base of spices. Get yourself a little ramekin and grab first your chili powder. You're gonna need 3 tablespoons. 2 teaspoons of ground coriander, 2 teaspoons ground cumin, 2 teaspoons granulated garlic. I know, more garlic, but trust me, this adds a different type of garlic flavor. 2 tablespoons of smoked paprika. It is very important that it is smoked. I'm gonna add 1 whole teaspoon of oregano. If you have Mexican oregano, this is a great time to use it. Mix everything in here to combine, and we have 1 more ingredient. And the last thing is 1 whole chopped chipotle in adobo sauce. This is a super smoky, super intense flavor punch. I'm gonna chop this up fine and add it to my spice mixture. For me, a chili always has beans. I happen to have red kidney today, so I'm gonna use that. You can use black, pinto, white, whatever you have will work just fine in this chili. If you wanna add multiple types of beans, if you wanna add chickpeas, go ahead and do that. It's your kitchen, do what makes you happy. So these are coming to the stove. This is 1 14-ounce can. If you have a bigger can, no problem. This recipe is very, very adaptable. For the protein today, I am using one of my rotisserie chickens. I'll link to that recipe right now. And if you're still buying your chickens at the grocery store, I'm telling you, this might change your mind. It's just as easy and so much more delicious. I pulled all of the chicken off of the bird, and this is gonna go into the chili. We have ingredients galore here, and that's because this is going to be our nutrition for all week. A couple more things you're gonna need. 1, tomatoes. If you have some whole tomatoes you wanna throw in there, great. I like a very tomato heavy chili. It's just my preference. You do what works for you. I'm using 1 can of chopped diced tomatoes, and I'm also, because I really want that flavor to come through of the tomato, I'm also gonna use about a half a jar, we'll see when we get to the stove, of passata. This is one of my favorite tomato products. It is strained tomatoes that have been picked at the peak of freshness, and they've been completely pureed. There's no seeds, nothing. The tomato flavor in this jar is insane. If you haven't tried it, you absolutely have to. Final thing, some chicken broth. If you have veggie broth, if you have no broth at all, you can always use water. Whatever you've got will work for this. I'm gonna use about half this carton. Again, I'll put measurements in the description box down below, but we'll see what happens at the stove. If you guys like these types of videos, please subscribe, hit the like button, and make sure you ring that little bell icon. That'll let you know every single time we have new content coming out. I've got an ultra large pot on the stove to medium high. I'm working on number 8 right now, and I'm using my Dutch oven. If you just have a really big stainless steel pot, that works fine. I'm using avocado oil, and I'm going to do 3 turns of the pan so that everything stays nice and lubricated in there. Perfect, it's hot right away. I'm gonna start by adding my cabbage so this can start to develop some color. Cabbage can also go in with these carrots. Remember, this cabbage is gonna release a lot of water, and we want that to happen now. I'm gonna do a small season of salt right now, probably about less than 1/4 teaspoon. This will help the cabbage release the liquid so the liquid can evaporate and the cabbage can brown. I'm gonna turn this heat down because the cast iron is holding the heat really, really nicely. I'm turning it down to medium, number 5. You guys, you need to keep an eye on your pot in your kitchen. If things are getting a little bit too dark or the browning isn't happening, adjust your heat. We're all working with different stoves, different equipment, so you need to really pay attention and don't just follow the recipe blindly. Really look for those key indicators. Here, we're looking for the water to release from the cabbage. So we have this steam. The steam is a really good indication that's happening. And then when I stir it, I'm seeing brown. That's another good indication. I am adding the onions right now so these can start to sweat. We're gonna use them to get everything off the bottom of the pot. Really break up that onion. You want to be getting nice chunks of onion when you eat this. This is why I call this my real girl weeknight chili, because it has vegetables, a lot of them. Look at all this great color we have now on our cabbage and our onions. It's time to add the garlic. Now this only needs maybe 30 seconds. We don't want to go too long on this garlic because we also have to toast our spices. So we have our little spice mixture here. If you're using that ultra flavorful dried chili liquid, have that on standby. Get this garlic in. Oh yes, I'm gonna add in our spices with that chopped chipotle. I'm gonna season it generously with salt because don't forget we have all that liquid going in, about half a teaspoon, and let these dry spices toast. This is gonna look really weird, but stick with it. Let everything toast. This is where we're building flavor. You wanna let these spices toast for at least 1 minute. I'm adding in my chili mixture. Let's give that a second to wake up as well. If you're at this point and you're not using that chili mixture, you can start adding your tomatoes. Diced tomatoes going right in. I want to add half a jar of our passata. If you want it more tomatoey, add more. This is going to be for pasta later in the week. Half a container of chicken broth. Give this a really good stir. If you guys want to know how I make my vegetarian chili, that's also really, really good. Let me know in the comments below and I can show you guys in an upcoming episode. You will notice I haven't added my chicken yet, my peppers, or my beans. That's because this chicken's already cooked and we do not want it to get dry and stringy and weird. This chicken wants to stay plump and it will absorb all of these juices. These peppers are not gonna take long at all, so I'm gonna add them in later as well as our beans. We don't want the beans to break down. This is just looking phenomenal. Looking at this, I know that the chicken is gonna absorb a lot of this liquid, so I'm actually gonna go in and add more of this chicken broth to compensate. I'm gonna add the entire thing to compensate for the liquid that's going to be lost in the cooking. This is gonna reduce down, it's going to intensify in flavor, and it's going to be the perfect healthy chicken chili for your meal prep. Very important step, we want to give this a try, and we're tasting it for salt. This needs to be adequately salted right now because everything's going to infuse as it cooks. Wow. When you try this at this point, a lot of the flavors are still going to be fairly muted and a little bit watery, but what you're looking for is for that chili to come and be very forward. You're looking for smokiness from the chipotle, and almost if you were to imagine this being more concentrated, the flavor should be exactly where you want it to be. If it's not, you can still add more spices at this point, but I would caution you guys, this is going to reduce. So there's still lots of cooking left to happen, and the cooking makes all the difference. I'm putting this at medium high. I'm gonna let this come up to almost like a boil, and then I'm gonna reduce it right away down to a simmer, and we'll keep an eye on it. I'll let you know how long it takes. Chili has been simmering for a little over 30 minutes, and you can see how nice and deep the color has gotten and the liquid has gone down. This is the perfect time to add our red bell pepper, our beans, and our chicken. It's all gonna go in right now. Now that all of our ingredients are in, it's gonna simmer for another 20 minutes. The peppers are gonna soften, the chicken is going to lend its flavor to the sauce, and those beans are gonna get just a little bit more plump. Ooh, this is a delicious smelling pot of chili. This has been simmering for almost an hour. I really let it go because I wanted to get those flavors down and intensified, and this could not smell better, guys. This chicken is beautiful. It's shredded. That cabbage is just bulking up this chili. We've got the peppers that are still holding their shape because we added them a little bit later. And one of my favorite things to do with chili is to get the toppings going. This is gonna elevate this on a weeknight, or if you're doing this for a meal prep, so that it doesn't get too stale tasting, this will bring it to life. I've got some chopped cilantro, some chopped jalapeno, some fresh lime, and some Greek yogurt. I know it looks like sour cream. This is actually 0% fat Greek yogurt, and this is a phenomenal substitute for sour cream. I am gonna serve up a nice, generous portion of this chili. Oh yeah. You could add more beans if you want more beans, any type of veg that floats your boat. Look at this. Top this with jalapeno, as much heat as you like. Cilantro. Tuck that little wedge on the side, and a generous dollop of Greek yogurt. I'm gonna put this lime on. I just find it wakes everything up, especially when you're dealing with big, bold flavors that have been simmering for a while. This elevates it to another level. Oh, almost looks hot, but I'm going in. A little bit of Greek yogurt, a little bit of cilantro, a pepper. This is incredible. When you're eating food like this during the week, you can't go wrong. This is gonna stay good all week, at least 5 days, if it lasts that long. I really hope you guys learned something this episode. This Real Girl super healthy chili is one of my go-tos. If you wanna see more recipes like this, make sure you subscribe and ring the bell so you know every single time we post. I'm gonna go eat this. I hope you have a great week. I'm Christina, and you're here on The Main.